What's up, airplane collectors? Welcome to a model airplane review. It's your host Ray. In today's video, I'll be reviewing the Aviation 400 ITA Airways Airbus A350-900. In this video, I'll talk about the box, then the model itself, and at the end of the video, I will give my personal opinion about what I think of the model and whether or not I recommend it to other collectors. So starting off with the box is just a standard box at 19.5 centimeters lengthwise and height-wise and 5 centimeters wide. Okay, you have to admit that was a good save. I'll show you on the box now. So here's the front, bottom, right side. Oh gee, what is with me today? Top, left side, and the back side. Oh, there's nothing back here. Once you open up the box, you get the model fully painted, assembled, and ready to go, and a plastic display stand. This plastic display stand is really cheap and it's just hard to assemble, and it doesn't even fit into the model without requiring some sanding of the stud up here. So yeah, you might want to get a different stand, or if you want to use the stand, make sure you modify it accordingly. Like I said, you might want to sand it. Here I'd like to add a special note that this model is a special livery. As you saw in the box, it is nicknamed Monza 100. Now, I found out what this meant through a 45-second Google search. This airplane is wearing the Monza 100 logo because I believe it's the 100th anniversary of the Monza Formula One race course in Italy. And of course, ITA Airways is based in Italy, and F1 is a big part of their culture over there, I believe. I'm very uncultured in international stuff. Anywho, so I guess they wanted to commemorate that, and this is the special, not livery, but the special sticker that they chose to use to commemorate that. Aside from that, it's a regular ITA Airways Airbus A350. And here's the model itself. Before I begin my review, I'm going to give you a quick 360. So the fuselage length is 16.5 centimeters, wingspan is 16 centimeters, and it's about 5 centimeters tall. Decently sized and accurate to 1/400 scale. This model is also quite heavy because it's made primarily out of die-cast metal. Let's start talking about the fuselage first. So the nose shape looks pretty solid. It might be a little bit too pointy. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't really done my research in a while, but the nose shape looks within acceptable margins, so I won't complain. Lots and lots of printed detail up here. Of course, there's that Monza 100 sticker that I was telling you about, SkyTeam logo, and all sorts of technical markings. Cockpit window printing might be a little bit low, also a little bit curved. We'll determine that later in the video when I show the aircraft from the front. But as you move down the fuselage, you can see, of course, the ITA Airways logo. No complaints so far. Lots of windows, decent amount of printed detail. Take notice of the fuselage color. It's very vibrant. It's a very vibrant blue. However, I had a bit of a suspicion that the color might have been a little bit off, and I believe the color is slightly too dark. There's too much blue. It should be a little bit more of a lighter blue. So this is the first time I've seen Aviation 400 get a color wrong. Technically, it's not 100% wrong, but it is slightly incorrect. And back here we've got all sorts of printed details. I'm not really sure what those are. From what I can gather, there's like a flower there, or that's like a flower or a plant of some sort. I have no idea what any of these mean, so don't take that quote from me. Here's that vertical stabilizer. Colors up here look pretty good as well. The green here might be a little bit dark. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, printed detail looks pretty good with all the little symbols here. Paint application looks decent. I do notice there is a bit of a light blue spot. Oh wait, actually no, that's not a spot. That's just one of the printed little details. That's supposed to be there? Yeah, that's supposed to be there. I thought this was a paint application issue. Go figure. And here's the right side of the aircraft. Everything I've said about the left side can also be applied to the right side, so I'll just drag the model this way. Looks pretty solid. Moving on to the wings, here we've got the left wing. Looks pretty detailed. There's painted, printed, and molded detail. Painted detail with the leading edge slats being a lighter gray color with the rest of the wing white. Printed detail, of course, there's the lines there. These look pretty good. There's a little, I think there's a little stain right here, or yeah, there appears to be a little bit of a small stain right here. I'm not sure what happened there, but a little bit of an inconsistency with the white paint. And we've got molded detail in the form of the control surfaces and the flaps and air brakes. I do notice that a bit of extra paint seems to have been applied here in this section, because here you can clearly see the control surfaces like the flaps and the air brakes, but once you move back here you can't really see it all that well until you bring the model under the reflection of the light. So paint application wasn't 100% consistent. On the right wing, the paint is a bit more consistent though, and I don't see any stains, and of course there's the aircraft's registration right there, so that looks good. As for the wingtips look pretty solid. Shape looks good. No complaints there. I don't think there's supposed to be any logos there, so I won't complain all that much. Here, let's try and focus that. There you go. So that's what it looks like from the outside, and that's what it looks like from the inside. Pretty solid so far. Bottom of the right wing here, no printed detail. It's kind of to be expected. Looks pretty solid here down here too. And the bottom of the left wing, we have the aircraft's registration there as well. Here we've got our horizontal stabilizers, very swept back too. These look pretty solid. Okay, kind of see a fingerprint there. There you go, let's wipe that off. Looks pretty good. I can't tell if that's paint. Okay, so that's molded detail. For a sec, I thought they did a printing detail with the elevators here. I was just like, that's very unusual. But no, that is molded detail, very clearly defined there. It's always nice to see. They might have actually filled that with silver paint. I believe they filled the gaps with silver paint. That's definitely an interesting addition there. APU looks good. Yeah, it's painted a metallic gray. And bottom, no printed detail on the horizontal stabilizers. And down here, all the details look pretty good so far. All right, the part that we all know that I love so much, the engines. Engines in this model look really good. Okay, I kind of take that back a little bit. Exhaust nozzle doesn't appear to align with the rest of the engine. You can see there that the balance is a little bit slightly uneven. You might be able to see what I'm seeing here. Maybe I'm just seeing things. I might be going crazy. The metallic gray on the exhaust nozzle here is actually a little bit blue too. That's a really cool addition. This is depicted on the box art too. Not sure if it's 100% accurate, but it looks really cool, so style points there. Top of the engine's very nicely detailed with some silver parts. There's the engine strake there. I finally learned the name. Let's go. We've got the ITA logo. I think that's part of the Italian flag. It's not part of the actual Italian flag, but it's supposed to be kind of like a reference to it. And bottom of the engines, not as much printed detail as I would expect, but there's still the amount of printed detail that needs to be there, so no complaints. Now, of course, I think the part that everyone is excited about, the fan blades. There is spinner spiral detail. The fan blades do not spin, but there is spinner spiral detail. That's very uncommon for a 1:400 scale aircraft, so that's very nice to see. Right engine, also same story. Spinner spiral detail looks good as well. There's a few smudges here and there, but yeah, the fan blades do not spin on this model. This model has aerial features in the forms of 3D antennas, lights, and sat domes. There are 3 antennas at the top of the aircraft. There's 2 large ones at the front and towards the rear, as I pointed out, and a very small one at the rear here. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be, that kind of looks, I'm not sure if that's supposed to be vertically straight up. It might have to be curved back a little bit, or if something went completely wrong and the antenna was attached incorrectly. Yeah, not sure if that's right. Make your own opinions with that. We have one 3D light at the top of the plane here. It's just a little red gem. Looks pretty good. Aviation 400 is the only model airplane brand to do 3D lights in 1:400 scale. And of course, we got our sat dome back here. Bottom of the plane, we've only got a few antennas. We actually have just one antenna right here, bottom of the front of the plane. And we have one very hard to see 3D light right in the middle of the ITA Airways logo. While we're down here, might as well start talking about the landing gear. Landing gear on this model are painted silver. It's kind of, that's more of a Phoenix tradition, but I suppose Aviation 400 has adopted this as well. Wheels roll, they're made out of rubber, and the gear looks pretty good. Here you can see the nose gear looks really solid. Okay, now that I'm looking at that nose shape, I think there's nothing wrong with it. Just like I said earlier, do what you will with that information. Main gear looks good. As you can tell, they are designed to swivel and tilt. However, moving them to tilt is almost impossible on this model. The fit is very tight. This one's definitely a bit looser than the other one. So that's not a requirement, but it would be nice to see a bit more consistency. Once again, small imperfections, but I do prefer consistency. And of course, we've got our giant ITA Airways logo there. Looks pretty good. And of course, our decent selection of printed detail down here as well. And here's the front of the plane. I'll just get to the bottom line. Everything here looks pretty good. Gear balance is good. Engine clearance is good. Wing flex maybe starting to get a little bit high there, but I think it's still good. Actually, no, I take that back. It's good. I don't think it's really high. Cockpit window printing, kind of hard to see, especially with the blue fuselage, but that's symmetrical as well, especially looks really good with that raccoon mask too. I'm surprised they did it on this airplane, given the entire fuselage is a dark color anyway. Yeah, no complaints. Looks pretty solid. And with that, my review has concluded. Now time for my personal opinion and recommendation. This model is pretty close to textbook perfection. I think it's really good, except the one thing that does kind of set it back is the color of the fuselage being a little bit too dark. That's why I won't call it pure perfection, because otherwise I would. It's still a really nicely detailed model. I think it's going to sell fast because the last time Aviation 400 did a ITA Airways Airbus A350 release, that one sold like hotcakes, and I couldn't get one, so that's the reason I got this one. Still, it's a very good model. It's of a beautiful looking aircraft. The model looks really cool. It's definitely going to stand out in your collection, so I do recommend it to anyone who still wants to get it. If it's still in stock, that is. Well, that's all I've got for you guys today. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned for more model airplane reviews. As I close my days here at home, I'm going to try and get out as many as possible, but I can't make any guarantees. And that's all I've got for you guys today. Thanks so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Take care of yourselves. Happy collecting. See you next time.